Hello and welcome to the Queen's Couch Podcast with our amazing host, Dr. Tyniko Victoria. She curates a space for women where all women are encouraged to collaborate and do not collide. Join us on the couch tonight. Hello and welcome to the Queen's Couch. We are continuing our series of power couples and we are on part two. And tonight we're talking about love, business, and legacy with our guests, Chris and Yolanda. And so I want you to get your notepads out, get ready to take some notes and learn and grow about relationships on tonight. So welcome, Chris and Yolanda. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone? How are you tonight?
Hey, hey. Thank you so much for having us, Dr. Taniko. You want to introduce us, honey?
Yes, why not? I am Chris. This is my wife Yolanda. This coming April the 14th. April the 11th. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
get it right, babe.
April the 11th we'll be married 22 years. It has been a journey, good ups and downs, but because God was in it, we kept God in it. We're able to stand. Um, we have three children. We have a 20-year-old son, a 16-year-old daughter, and a 14-year-old son.
Awesome. Is there share, Yolanda?
I think he covered everything. I am both of us are business owners. He is a mobile automotive repair technician, and I am a coach and consultant. I do public health and community engagement coaching and consulting, as well as I certify life and leadership coaches, and I provide coaching services for women. I'm the founder of the Woman Emerge Coaching and Support Group. Together, both of us are relationship coaches, certified coaches, and we coach married couples. So I think that's everything.
All right. Well, listen, that is amazing. So I want to start. I always ask people, tell us your love story. Tell us how you met and how did it all begin?
Oh,
You want me to
wow.
start?
You want to tell her how it was a whole setup from your mama?
Yeah, it was a setup. My mom set us up. I was living in Florence. She was living in Camden, and my mom was in the process of moving to Camden, so she would come over to Camden on the weekend. So she started attending a church that we used to fellowship with a long time ago, and she met Yolanda there. And she was in the process of renewing, her and my dad was renewing their vows. So she asked Yolanda to be in the wedding. Was it the matron of honor, or
I
what
think I
was
was
it?
just going to be a bridesmaid, I believe.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I was get ready to talk to somebody from the church I was going to in Florence. And my mom's like, hold on, wait a minute. I got somebody I want you to meet. Blase, blase. I said, okay, mom. I don't want to meet this person. You always trying to set me up. I don't want to meet her. Just let me handle this. And she was like, boy, I'm telling you, she's pretty. You need to meet her. She's sweet. So that's how we all end up meeting. We met, started talking, and one morning, well, this was months later.
6 months to be
Six
exact.
months later, I proposed to her before she went to work. And that's where it's been ever since.
Wow, that is amazing. So you if the mom sometimes you gotta follow your mom's lead. She might be out there picking your bride. It might that ever happened to you. That is amazing. So this April, 22 years. That is a long time. Tell me the glue. Well, I believe I know the glue, but tell my audience the glue that holds you all together and what keeps your longevity.
You want me to answer that?
Yeah.
So definitely God, for sure. And
Mhm.
after God, it's our accountability to each other, and that accountability doesn't always feel good. It could be me coming to him with something or him coming to me with something. And at the time, he may not want to hear it. I may not want to hear it. But it shows both of us that we love each other. It shows both of us that we are committed to the fight. And it shows both of us that God has greater, but we got to put ourselves in alignment for greater. And so that's what has definitely guided us through these years.
Thank you for sharing that. So we're going to dive into some questions. So I usually we're going to answer a few questions, and then if you don't mind coaching a few people on the spot, if they have some questions that they may ask, then we'll go there and we're going to get it started. So I have my first question for you all. And so tonight we're talking about business. Both of you are business owners. And so I know that's no easy task sometimes navigating that. So my first question is, how do you maintain a healthy relationship while pursuing your business goals together?
You want to start? You want me to start?
Yeah. Making time for each other, because sometimes business can be very demanding, and there are periods that the call volumes are high, or that the demands are high for her. And it's just, in spite of all of that, we have to be intentional about making time for each other.
Definitely. And that may look like him coming in and saying to me, hey, you got the phone in your hand a lot. And the phone may be in my hand for leisure, or it could be in my hand for work. But either way, he's voicing, hey, I don't have your time. Like, you're slacking off on your time with me. And so definitely us keeping that, in the forefront, that it's each other first and then everything else. And so, prime example, this is where we spend our time together. When we shut our day down, whether it's us watching a movie together, whether it's we don't turn the TV on at all, and we're right here in this spot and we're just talking to each other, laughing and playing, whether it's me getting on his nerve, tickling him, whatever it is, it's that time. Because when you lose that, you lose the connection and you lose your why. So you've got to stay connected.
Awesome. That is amazing. So making sure you're keeping your why and making sure that you're making time for each other is very important. And
Yes.
so how important you spend time together nightly, how intentional are you about date night? How does that look?
You
You
want
want me to
me?
go?
You go ahead.
Okay. So date night is like, I could say for us, it's sporadic. It could be me saying, hey, let's go get some ice cream. Or it could be him saying, you want some Chinese food, or you want some pizza, and date night doesn't have to be, I don't think our date night fits the status quo. Our date night could be getting a large pizza from Pizza Hut, sitting right here in this bed, eating the pizza, talking to each other. We don't have to go out and
Mhm.
spend a lot of money. It's what works for you and what brings you joy, and what allows you and your spouse to enjoy each other. That's what date night looks like. So it doesn't have to be going anywhere. Date night could be us sitting in the living room with the kids, watching a funny movie or playing a game.
And then there's those times where I say, I need you to ride with me somewhere real quick.
Yeah.
And then we'll end up at a restaurant.
Yeah. He's a big rider. And I'm glad he said that, because I'm not one who just wants to go get in the car and take a ride. Like, I want a purpose
Mhm.
why are we riding? But that's what he needs. And so I'm not loving another Yolanda. I'm loving a total different person. So I have to give him what he needs, not what Yolanda needs.
I love that. I love that. So a big rider. So sometimes you have to take a ride in the
Take
car.
a ride.
Sometimes you have to say, hey, and be accountable. I like that you're very accountable to each other with making sure that you spend time with each other, making sure that you are doing things that make the both of you happy. Sometimes a lot of pressure. People see other people's relationships and they put a lot of pressure on themselves. So, what are some boundaries couples should set when working or building a legacy together?
Some boundaries that couples should set is acknowledging time. Time is a big one. You have to set a cutoff time. Because sometimes if not, it'll interfere with family and relaxation time. And then before you know it, you never ever reach that stage of rest because you're constantly doing something that's work related. Um, Go ahead.
And for me, it is allowing your spouse to be who they are. And so by that, I mean, for him, when he comes in the house after a long day, whether he's been on the road going to his customer or if the customer brings their car to him, if it's a big job, that's a lot on his mind that he has. And he has to release all of that. So that could be him sitting in his recliner playing his game. So I give him that hour, or I give him that hour and a half, to get his woosah that he needs. And whatever my thing is, whether my thing is going making candles, if I'm going in there splatting wax everywhere, making 50 candles, he gives me that time. And we have to respect that. Now, that doesn't mean we take advantage of that and we take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. So that could be me. And he look at me like, I can see his face now. So sharing this. When he's over his hour and a half, I go stand in front of the TV because he's got a huge, I don't even know how many inches that TV is that he plays the game on. I just go stand in front of it like this, like, and time up. But that's what, and for me, it'd be like, all right, you ain't turned that wax pot off yet. You ain't made enough candles yet. And so that lets me know, all right, I need to be wrapping it up. So definitely those boundaries and letting them be themselves. And like he said, time. And again, here comes the accountability, holding each other accountable to whatever it is that they've put their hands to do. And I'll give this quick example, like me with the candles. He'll, all right, let's make this money. He stay on me. And because he pushes me, the fear that I had about it, because it was something new for me, he healed all of that. Just him pushing me, just him encouraging me. All that went away. And I'm like, man, I got this. Yeah.
Yes, you're doing an amazing job. She has some amazing candles. So listen, it's the woman. We're gonna stop for this plug. It's the Woman Emerge candles. Listen, they are amazing, and she will customize your scent because she customized me a scent. Let me tell you, it is amazing. Listen, just your style, just your flavor, whatever you need. And guess what? You can't get them from Bath and Body Works. Soy, and theirs are toxic. I'm gonna tell you the truth, because all the black that you see, that's carbon monoxide. You're not gonna see those in soy candles. So that's why I really never really get candles from Bath and Body Works anymore, because it's toxic to your breathing. If you have asthma, allergies, those candles aren't good for you. But the candles that she has is all soy, all natural. You're not gonna see that black soot, and it can burn longer than the others. So make sure you get your candles from the Woman Emerge collection. They are so good. They're made with love. They're prayed over. So listen, you need to get those candles. I love those candles. Yeah. So that's something you said that was just so key. You said the encouragement from him made you feel safe. It made you feel like I can do it. And so how important is encouragement when it comes down to a relationship and a new project? How important is that?
Oh, it's huge, Tyniko, because like literally I was like, God, you want me to do what with these candles? You want me to do what? And all these questions started coming up in my head. I don't know. I can't. All of these things, kind of just like Gideon in the Bible, when God told him to go do what he needed to do, get the army, have him do all this. And Gideon had all these ifs. So I had all of these ifs. But his voice, his belief in me, his encouragement, his push healed all of that. It spoke to the little girl who was scared. It spoke to the grown woman who was scared and said, you don't have to be. You got this and I got you. And that is huge. And I understand how big that is when you've got your husband in the background pushing you and he's saying whatever you need, whatever it take, I got you. That anything in the world could come up against you, and you gonna stand against it because you know that you're taken care of. And safety is one of the top 5 things for a woman that they need in marriage.
I
And once
love
we feel safe and secure, we're unstoppable.
that is the truth. Once you feel once you got that, I can do it. Somebody got my back. You not gonna
Yes.
stop.
Yes.
I love that. That is very important. So you all are dropping some amazing nuggets on tonight. I really love this conversation. You are on the Queen's Couch, and tonight we are talking with Chris and Yolanda. We are talking about relationships, love, business, all things in between. So I'm excited to have them on tonight. We have started our conversation off with some great tips. And so I would like to share, I share with every couple why I selected them. So
Okay.
I am a conveyor of the little things. Like I don't care about what people say. I can tell real love a mile away. I can't, I don't know what it is. So I picked you all tonight because I'm in Yolanda's coaching group, honey. Lord, I know my husband will be very happy. I
Yes.
I
Yes.
know, but the support that Chris gives you is phenomenal.
Yes.
And so, what one night what spoke volumes is that I never hear when we have our calls here. You don't hear nobody. You know, some husbands, you hear the huff, you hear the, oh, I wish they heard you. You never hear that in his voice. He's always there to support you. And so I say when a person really loves and support their spouse, I equate that to love because sometimes it's not what you say, it's what you do and what you demonstrate to people. And so when I see his support, when I see how he shows up, how he encourages you, those are the things that let me know that this is the couple that I need to bring on because it's real, it's genuine, it's transparent, it's not the fluff of all these words, but you see the action. So that's why I chose you tonight. So I'll tell every couple why I chose them. So that just spoke volumes to me to have someone that really supports you because I know so many people, they're in competition, their husband don't want them to do things.
Yeah.
They feel like they're in a box and they can't soar and be who they are. But I feel like because of you, Chris, Yolanda can really soar. And so I love that about the both of you. And so that's why I chose you all on tonight. So that's the story.
And,
'Cause
and and Tyniko, can I just add to something you said? I want to encourage a wife that may be watching and feel like she's in a box and feels like she's not supported. Don't do like I did in the early seasons of our marriage where I felt like I was in that box and I bashed him. You're never there for me. You don't encourage me. You don't do this and you don't do that. When I should have kept my mouth closed and I should have been like, God, why do I feel this way? He could be supporting me in his own way and I don't see it because I'm stuck in what I think and the way I feel it should look. So, ladies, if you feel that way, I ask you, go to God and ask God why you feel that way to see if your feeling is legit because he could be supporting, but in his own way. And it doesn't mean it's going to look like the way you want it to look. And as we matured and as we grew together and as we grew in God, I learned how to relay better how I felt that it didn't demean him and leaving him feel defeated. And it opened up the door for him to be able to support me the way that I needed to and the way that I needed to receive it as well.
thank you. Thank you for sharing that because sometimes people don't know that, you know, they're not supporting, but they could really actually be supporting you. Thank you for sharing that on tonight. My next question is how do you handle disagreements when it comes to business decisions? How do you handle it?
There you go, buddy.
Okay, so how can I put this? Um, say for instance, I have a customer because sometimes I do have spoiled customers, and it's
Mm,
my fault.
mm.
My business hours are from 9 to 4, Monday through Friday. They'll call me at 6. I answer the phone. They'll call at 8. I answer the phone. They'll call at 9. I answer the phone, and while I'm on the phone, she was like, "What are your business hours?" And I say, "Hold on, hold on." So I talk to him, and she'd be like, "All right, honey, now you running the business, you got to stand by your time." And I would say, well, that's a new customer that I got in contact with earlier today. They couldn't answer their phone, but because they were at work, I said, I'm just doing a follow-up call, getting things set up. But in the same token, I do understand where she's coming from. Sometimes I want to hear it, sometimes I don't. But I don't get to a point where I walk out the room, slam a door, or say something to offend her. I've learned how to respond by listening and understanding where she's coming from. So if that happens on her end, I say, okay, now remember when somebody called me at 9 o'clock. Now you had something to say. I'm gonna need you to remember that now. And she'll laugh like she doing now, but we never get to that point where we don't want to sit beside each other or look at each other or not talk to each other. But disagreements, they really make us stronger.
Yeah.
Make us more aware and understand each other more.
Definitely. Yeah, I can. Yeah. And he's so right, because I'd be like, I know that phone ain't ringing. If they was calling Toyota, they wouldn't get no answer. I'd be
I understand.
Oh goodness. But that's an area where we had to grow
Yeah.
as well, because he had to build that customer relationship, and it took him seeing it for himself, like, hey, I've spoiled them and they're not even respecting my time. And so now that he sees it for himself, opposed to me just throwing it in his face all the time, he's like, I ain't answering her. He'll throw the phone, he'll leave the phone home or whatever in his hour. So yeah.
So that is good. That is so we about to get how they say it down to the nitty gritty. A lot of times this is I always call it the woman's I don't know when you say these words. How do you determine when to lead, submit, or compromise in your relationship?
So no spouse is strong or accurate in every area. There's going to be something I'm weak at and he's good at. It's going to be something he's weak at and he's good at. And so we've kind of learned each other in that area. This joker can save a $1 bill for 50 years and don't touch it. Me, I'm going to be ready to go somewhere and buy something, okay? So, yeah, so in that area, he leads and I submit. On the flip side, the administrative part of business and all of that, I lead, he submit. If he has issues, I kind of guide him through or whatever. If he needs a contract for something or whatever. So we understand each other. We understand each other's strengths. And we grew to a place where me having a strength in one area doesn't make me better than him. Doesn't make it like I know more than him. I think I'm better than him. None of that. Him knowing something in the area doesn't make him better than me either. It makes us a better power couple. That's what it does. And we respect that, and we take advantage of that, and we get stronger and better individually, collectively, and as business owners.
I love that. Knowing when to lead and when to submit.
Yes.
That
yes.
is very.
I don't know if it's your weakness, just pull back. Be humble enough to pull back.
Yes, that's I like that. Just be willing to admit I'm not strong in the area. I'm okay now with my finances, but I like to spend. I'm like, Lord, help me. But I'm getting better.
That's good.
I'm getting better. Getting better. So, how can speak to our couples? How can a couple ensure they understand and support each other's individual callings and purpose? How can they understand and be able to do that?
Um, they gotta be on one accord with each other. That first comes from a relationship with Christ. There's no marriage relationship that's gonna work without God being the center of it. And with making decisions, not only do they have to go before God, but they have to talk to each other about it. Um, because I asked my wife, did God tell you to do that? Are you sure? Or maybe do you think you're doing too much at one time?
Yeah.
Where you're filling your cup too much and you don't have enough left to minister home. So it's about sitting down, talking about those expectations that have been unspoken for so long.
Yes.
Because we've been married for almost 22 years does not mean I've got to the point where I know everything about my wife. All there is to know. We're constantly changing. And I can't expect for her to scratch my back if I never tell her it's itchy. Can you scratch my back, please? Just because she's my wife doesn't mean it just pops in the head. You know what? I'm gonna scratch your back tonight. I can't look for that from her because that might not be where she is at the moment. So I have to say it for her to understand it.
Yeah, that's good. That was just good all by itself. Those unspoken expectations become unmet expectations, and then you're sitting there with a grudge against your spouse, and your spouse don't even know what's wrong with you, but it's something that you didn't speak, and you, or it's unmet because it's an expectation of something that they can't even feel. And so we've got to communicate. I like the way he said, like, you got to say your back itching, you got to say, hey, I don't like this, you got to say these things. So definitely I'll just add the communication piece.
And
for
then
sure.
it's good to get confirmation from God too. That really sets the tone for the future, because I always wanted my own mechanic business, but I didn't want to be out of God's timing with it. So what I did was I prayed about it and I said, God, if this is what I'm supposed to do, I need confirmation. I need confirmation from you. This is what I want. So when I got to church one Sunday, God used my leader to give me confirmation. I haven't said anything to her, didn't say nothing to nobody in the church about what I wanted to do. The only person that knew was my wife. So that pretty much solidified it and gave me confirmation, because when you don't have confirmation, not only can you mess up your finances, but you can mess your marriage up.
Yes.
Just going out doing things and it's not coming together, and it becomes a struggle in your household, becomes a struggle, and that financial struggle, it hurts the intimate parts of the marriage as well. So you have to be very careful with the decision making process to make sure that it's in alignment with God's word and his timing.
Yeah, I want to go back to the support piece, and when it was, because I was the pusher, I'm the fixer, I'm the doer. So I was the pusher and the doer in that point. I had made contracts for him, ordered him business cards, and all of these things, and I'm like, what are you waiting on? But that communication piece allowed me to support him the right way, because I could be supporting, but it could be at the wrong time and in the wrong way. And it was him, hey, I need to wait on God to confirm this for me. So that shifted what my support looked like. So my support then became, you got this. When you're ready to start this business, you got this, So depending on where they are and what they need, that's how our support should line up and show up. But that's gotta be through communication, though, because you'll never know. You'll be doing it in your own way unless they communicate where they are and what they need.
Thank you. That was really, really great. Just one of the things I did love, you talked about the unspoken expectations. And if anybody was the queen of the unspoken expectations,
Me too.
oh, I mean, I had this whole scenario in my mind about what I
In a
wanted him to
split
do,
second.
how I wanted it to be. And when he didn't do it, I felt so disappointed.
Mhm.
But then I never even told the man.
Never even told a man.
I'm all mad, got an attitude, everything.
Yes.
Ready to never talk to them ever again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Never said anything to the
Yep.
man. So I'm learning. I'm learning. Yes. Uh, so tell me, how did you feel um, having being able to speak those expectations has helped your marriage to grow?
um, it help us not to be as sensitive
Mm-hmm.
in a bad way. Kind of built up like a shell to say, okay, they're not just saying this just to hurt me
Mm-hmm.
or to push me away. This is to help me, to make me better. Because put it like this: I'm the left eye, she's the right eye. We work well together. But if there's something wrong on this side that need to be addressed, then I got to be willing to accept what needs to be addressed. Same on the other end. We make each other better. And if we can't receive everything that we have to say, is not always going to be pleasing to each other. And like I always say, there are moments where God allow things to be said to help us to grow. It's not always going to be, baby, I just got something I just want to talk to you about. It's I love you. Sometimes it's just I listen. What you said the other day, that really bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
It made me feel some type of way. And I was upset and didn't want to speak to you. But I understand that I cannot give the enemy any space,
Mm-hmm.
but that did get on my nerve and it hurt me. So that's how it comes out. It comes out with love, but it's not to the point where it cuts and leave a big wound to where she can't do what she's supposed to do as a wife.
Definitely. And we've grown to the place as well where we'll just tell each other, look, I don't even like you right now. I go about my business, get myself together, and come back, and then we have an adult conversation. He'll be like, I don't like you right now. And so that lets us know somebody that did something to offend the other, to hurt the other, or something, that we were not happy with. But that's our language. Now, we can't tell somebody else to go do that in their marriage.
Right.
It might tear their house up.
Right.
But that's how we work.
Yeah.
And we've grown, and you'll hear me say grow a lot. We have grown to this place where we can be real, we can be just that real with each other. I may not like you, but baby, I love you, and I'm gonna go to bat for you. You best know that. I may not like you in this moment, but if somebody flip crazy in this moment, I got you, and you ain't got to worry about it. Even though I don't like you, I got you. And we grew here, but because we were not always here. And that's why it's so important for people who are engaged or dating, or even people who are newly married. Make sure you understand your spouse's past. Because you could be ready to say something, or you could have an expectation that will crush them because they're still on a healing journey from that thing. But when we understand their past and what they encounter, we know certain things we just can't say. And I wouldn't always hear, because I used to say some fool stuff and really hurt him. But God. And that's why we have got to be in a place, as I'm going to talk to the wives, we got to be in a place with God so that we can so quietly hear God say, don't say that, or not right now, or nope, just be quiet. Don't say it at all. Because God knows him better than we do. And these little mouths we got as women can tell some stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I will tell you a few things. In the chat, someone was saying this is good stuff. This is real talk. They are really enjoying this conversation that we're having on tonight. So I want to tell my guests that are listening, if you have any questions for Chris and Yolanda, they are relationship coaches, and now they're not going to be able to take you through a session now. But if you have a small question, you got to pay for that. But if you got a small question that might can help you out in these next 10, 15 minutes, you might can do a little something. But they can't now. They can't. They can't do a long, a long session with you. But if you have a question for Chris and Yolanda, make sure you drop it in the chat, and we will ask those questions for you. It has truly been an honor having you on, Chris and Yolanda. It has been like a breath of fresh air, just to have you share and just share these nuggets and just talk about how you've grown and to be able to speak to people who are growing, who may be dating or engaged or newly married, or they might, or even a couple that's been married a long time and they might felt like they fell out of love. And my bishop and my pastor always say, well, if you fell out of love, just fall back in love and just fall back in. So even if you fell out of love, do go through the steps, grow, so you can fall right back in love, because love is a choice. So
Yes. And Tyniko, you said I don't know if people got what you just said. You can literally fall out of love in marriage. We've been there. We have been there. It's real.
Yeah.
And you got to be so intentional about that thing that we gonna grow through this.
And then I want to say this too. In the black community, of the as a race, we have been taught that getting counseling is only for you if you're crazy. That's not true. That saved me and my wife's marriage.
Yeah.
The man I am today was not the man I was 6 years ago. I'm a totally different person because of it, and because we did the work. The work actually started once the 6 months of counseling was finished. That's when the real work started. It wasn't easy.
Not at all.
But if it's something that you want to do it, it's going to work out. You just got to get over the bumps and bruises, because what you go through is actually a testament for somebody else that's going to go through some of the same things. They may not go through it now, but they may go through it later. But all that we've learned growing up, when you become a husband and a wife to each other, you have to erase that and start your own game plan. That's where a lot of confusion comes from in marriages. That husband brings in the way he was raised. That wife brings in the way they was raised, the way they saw mom and daddy doing things, the way he saw mom and daddy doing things. And then you try to incorporate somebody else's marriage into your marriage, and they're not the same people. You're two totally different people. And then it brings about so much change of disruption in the atmosphere. It brings chaos. So that husband and wife got to sit down and draw up a game plan, what works for their house.
That's it.
Because what worked when I was with my mom and daddy, that was my mom and dad. I'm not Susie, I'm not Edgar. I'm Chris. So Chris and Yolanda got to come up with a new plan for Chris and Yolanda's house.
Yes, definitely. And I had to literally, and I hope it's some wives and fiancés and girlfriends listening, I had to divorce my mama. Meaning her mentality of you don't need a man, you can take care of yourself. Her mentality of don't you depend on his check, you depend on what you got coming in. Her mentality of every man is a liar. Her mentality of
Say what you want when you
say
feel it.
what you want when you need to say it. Her mentality of, oh, that nigga always got a stash, so don't you believe him? You better keep your stash. All these things that bring separation when God called you to become one. I had to divorce her, spiritually divorce my mama, because it was causing chaos in my marriage. He already had a mom who was strong-willed, and so here you come marrying somebody who's strong-willed with an independent mindset, not a mindset of being one with nobody. Independent. It's mine, 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 mine. It was a mess. It was a mess. Prepare yourself before you say I do to become one. Think of yourself already as a wife. What would it look like to have to share? What would it look like to have to prepare something for somebody else? What would it look like to have to take care of something for somebody else? What would it look like to live with somebody else? May not be nobody in that bed, but are you getting up, taking care of everything like it was somebody else in the house? Are you managing your finances like you are sharing finances with somebody? Are you being a good steward? All of these things. Because, honey, I was busted and disgusted when we first got married. I would get mad at him, didn't care, let me get mad. I didn't care if the mortgage was paid, light bill paid. Honey, I was going to shop, I dropped it, didn't care if the house was foreclosed because I was mad at him. Single woman mentality. We moved every October up until I know I was 16, 17 years old. So what did I do? Bring that right in. Oh, you going to shop. So y'all finna be moving every year too because you shopping up the mortgage. So where you going to stay at? We got to be careful, ladies. We got to be careful. Because a distraction ain't a distraction until it distracts you.
That was a mouthful. That was really good because that's that's something I had to learn how to do because when you're in a you don't even realize the things that are embedded in you
Mm-hmm.
from a child,
Yeah.
from women. And I always tell people that your mama gonna keep you single sometimes and or divorced because you don't, I always I think I had to apologize one time because I said, I'm not the girl who knows how to trust a man's word.
Mhm.
I'm not the girl that knows how to you tell me your dream and I'm gonna believe in it. Cause all I heard was you better get it for yourself.
Come on, Tyniko.
Mm-hmm.
Money, you better have your stash. Don't you mix your money. What's yours is yours, and what's his is yours. He better bring you that check. Even my uncles would tell me this. So not just the females in my uncle. Hey, you better have your own money. You better make sure you're all right.
Mm.
Don't take her off here if you can. Don't take her if you can give her more than what you can have. So we have this saying in our family. I have to stop saying it, but it's a thing. If he can't do better than what I already got, leave her on my doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have, those things that you hear from two, three, four. You don't know how long that you hear those things. And although you're like, hey, I'm saved now, I'm ready to submit,
Come
and
on,
I'm ready to
Tyniko.
be one. That is a lie.
Come
Okay?
on.
Put that foolishness out.
Yep.
I am not, you not.
Oh, you're on mute.
When you're a really strong-willed woman, you have to pray and ask God to
Mm.
help you submit.
Come on.
To help you submit. It is not no cloak you put on or no weave.
Right.
It's something you have to do
Mm-hmm.
because your subconscious mind, it already is playing out. And
Yes.
so I'm glad that you said that because sometimes we don't even realize that we are you always hear this the scripture, the woman pluck it down with her hands, but
Mm.
it's sometimes it's the thought
It's the
that you have.
come
It's
on.
the it's not really you arguing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that that scripture, it could be that wise woman is gonna build. And so you got to learn what a wise woman is. You got to learn what that is. I think we sometimes just think because I'm saved, he's saved, it's going to work. That's not how it's going to work.
That's it. That's how we went into it. You saved, I'm saved, let's do this. It's going to be great. And honey,
didn't know nothing about it.
Didn't know nothing.
So before we close, I want you to tell what are 4 things you would maybe 5 things you would say to a couple that is engaged and they're ready to be married. What are 5 things that they can't overlook, they can't put it on the back burner, they got to deal with it before they say I do?
You start.
The first one I say would be seek God and be sure that the person that you want to marry is actually your mate, because you can actually marry the wrong person and spend so much time fighting and you're married to the wrong person. So seek God to be sure that that is the person that God has ordained to be a part of your life.
For me, make sure that you're marrying for the future and not the day. Meaning, take the time. You don't have to rush it. Take the time, find out, hey, how do you manage finances? If it's just a small something, hey, tell me how you will work this out. And let me see results of some things that you manage. Ask the questions. Say, for instance, you are a woman who's not really, and I'm going to be real, not really into sex. Ask the questions. Do you like to have sex? Because if you're a woman who don't like to have sex, then you don't need to say I do to a man who like to have sex. You going into it finna cause some issues because a man got to have his sex. Am I wrong? That's just how, they're not like us. So, ask them, hey, how do you handle family issues? Ask the questions. So to sum all that up, ask the questions.
Do you like to cook?
Yeah, do you like to cook? Because he old school. I wouldn't. I ain't like to cook. So I think he came into it thinking he was going to get a home cooked meal every day.
I thought that.
That ain't what Yolanda do, baby. Now I feed you. You want to go, what you want, baby? I will go buy it. It'll be prepared. I go pick it up and make sure it's hot when you eat.
Until I said, man, I'm tired of eating out. And she go, God,
dog it. But and those things matter. Well, who do you believe is the chase keeper of the house? Because some men say, hey, you know what? You don't have to do it. I'll do it. What are their beliefs? What are your beliefs? What are their values? What are your values? Do your value systems match? So let me say, because I done said a lot. Do your value systems match? Yeah. Important things like finances and the house and all of those things, asking those questions, your value system, asking foundational questions. That's how I'll put it. And let's see one more. You said about the relationship with God.
I did. How do you handle disagreement or rejection?
Yes. How do you handle rejection? Yes. And watch. Don't just ask the question. And if they say, oh, I do this, is this, and this. After they answer it, now it's time for you to watch. Because it's going to come out in some way, shape, or form. And find out how they feel about family. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? You're not just marrying them, you're marrying their family. And then finally, I'll say, allow them to be who they are. Because just like we as women get sometimes and we need our space, they need their space too. So are you okay with who they are in the now? Because 7 years later, they're going to change. 7 more years, they're going to change again. Are you committed to loving that person every time they change? I think I did more than 5, but.
Yeah, you did 16.
So that was really, really good.
Communication. If y'all ain't communicating good, don't say I do.
Yeah, communication, 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 and communication has layers.
In the
Yes.
bedroom, you got to communicate about the bedroom, how you like it, what you don't like. You got to communicate about finances. You got to communicate about where you're going to stay. Oh, it's big. It's in everything. Everything.
Everything. So I have one more question, and then I'm gonna give you all some final closing thoughts. Well, no, two more questions, but this might be one that can take us home. What role does faith and prayer play in managing your future and finances together?
Oh, it's huge.
Oh
Go ahead,
yeah.
honey.
We pray a lot about that stuff, but we also put it into action. It was a time where we used to not be accountable with each other about finances,
Mm-hmm.
and that hurt both of us.
Yes.
Um, so now is I see and I hear when my wife talk, so I respond to it. I don't, like the Bible says, take no thought for tomorrow, but worry about today, because you may not make it tomorrow. So I will ask a question like, "Hey, do you have enough wax? How many jars you have?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, then we need to stock up on this. How many you got going to this store? Well, I'm gonna go ahead and order you some wax. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this." So they try to keep the preparation mode on go. Because next week I might not have it like this, or tomorrow I might not have it like this. Something might come up. So we the man is the provider. If the woman choose to work, that's the decision that she makes. But if she decides she's not going to work, all those finances are on that man. So he basically got to be disciplined in the area of finances. But also in the same token, make sure the faith is strong by praying, reading the word together. We'll throw scripture at each other, or we'll say we had a dream and this is confirmation to what I heard a minister or a pastor say. But that's what we constantly do.
Mm-hmm. Got to. I don't see when we stand at the altar and say I do, whether you in a church, we got married in my apartment, whether you in an apartment, wherever you at, there is a spiritual altar there. And you are saying I do to God first before you saying it to that man. So you're telling God for better or worse, God for sickness and health, God, whatever. I am saying I do to you, God, and to the you in him. And that right there means you can't do it without God by itself. There's no way, because it's God's altar, not his and not mine. It can't be done without God. You got to keep faith in it. You got to keep prayer in it. You got to keep studying the word together, fellowship in the church together. You just got to keep God in it. Got to be.
We even have family Bible study
Yes.
with the
Yes.
kids, and we give them an opportunity to tell us what they think the scripture means.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't know, then that's when we break it down to them.
Yes.
I love I love that. I love the family Bible study. I love the fact that praying together, reading the word together, and definitely having God at the center of everything you do to be able to navigate marriage, life, business, your future, because it's no future without God.
Right.
Man.
Right.
That's
It's
right.
no future without God. So
Yeah.
it has been such an honor to have you on tonight. And before we close with our commercials, I want to give the floor to both of you to leave some parting words to my audience, to my guests, to those who may come back and watch the replay, single, married, whatever you would like to say.
For me, so first of all, thank you, Tyniko, for having us. I really enjoyed this. And my word I would like to leave for those who may watch the replay or watching now, don't do it without God. That's what I got.
And I would say, if you haven't already started, uh get in a place, in a posture where you can talk to God and put action behind breaking the generation of curses that has been tied to your life, so it will not um filter into what you're gonna be going into in the future. Um Keep God first, but be honest. Be honest with yourself, because God knows you. So you can't hide anything from him. So be completely honest with yourself and who you are, and do the work that's required.
Definitely.
Thank you. That was amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. You have been on the Queen's Couch with Dr. Tyniko, Victoria, and Chris and Yolanda. They have shared with us tonight about building together, love, business, and legacy. Join us for the finale on next Thursday, where I will have another couple, and I will have Dr. Joy and Houston Harris will be on next Thursday. And so I cannot wait to have them on. But this has been an amazing. I love Black love. I love love. I love Christian love, because sometimes it's nothing like a Christian couple. There's a lot of couples, a lot of different tough types of couples. But when God is at the center, that is the best couple. So you have been on the Queen's Couch, and this is the place where queens collaborate and do not collide. I hope that you have been empowered, that you are going to take the notes, everything that you learned tonight, and make your relationship stronger. Have a great night, and I will see you next Thursday at 7. Bye bye.